If you agree with this administration, well, my goodness, that's great. You know, if you don't, maybe it's time for the baseball bat. Maybe we need to try to shut you down, eh? We've been seeing this at Fox News all this week. See, at Fox News, I believe he said at one point that we were all part of a vigorous debate.
I think it's fair to say that I don't always get my most favorable coverage on Fox, but I think that's part of how democracy is supposed to work. You know, we're not supposed to all be in lockstep here.
Yeah, that's right. That's how democracy is supposed to work. We love democracy. I mean, it's the best. Unless, of course, democracy is getting in the way of reform, eh? And then you're going to hear from my buddy over here. Don't make me call Rahm Emanuel. Don't make me do it. I'll do it.
The way to look at it and the way the president looks at it and we look at it is it's not a news organization so much as it has a perspective.
They're not really a news station. If you watch even, it's not just their commentators, but a lot of their news programming. It's really not news. It's pushing a point of view.
Forget about that democracy stuff, huh? I'm just kidding about that. And was he saying that everybody can be lockstep? I didn't mean lockstep. I mean goose step. Fox is no longer a news organization. And, by the way, later in that same interview with Rahm Emanuel, he said, and, you know, by the way, all the other news organizations, listen up. We're not going to treat Fox News like a journalist organization, a news organization, and don't recommend that if you felt this bad, yeah, don't recommend that you do that either. You know what I'm saying? As if that wasn't bad enough, the White House took it a step further. Tried the heavy-handed tactic of excluding Fox News from the press pool yesterday. Wow. That was a shocking move. I believe unprecedented. It prompted a reaction from the press that had me even standing up and going, what did they just say? I'll explain more about that later. Oh, and that reminds me. You know, the president, I mean, you just sound so open-minded. You really do.
I will be there to listen. My door is always open.
He's listening and he's got the door. He just wants to listen to everybody. Well, except for you Tea Party people. I mean, what did you have to do? You had to go stand up, stand in the way of reform. And this president, well, he rejects that.
Don't accuse me of having a socialist mop.
Don't accuse me of it. I mean, it's more of a Marxist mop than a socialist mop, and I like the alliteration of Marxist mop. We could sell those. Hey, there's an idea. No, then we'd have profit. That would be bad. You know what happens when you don't play for the team, right? Well, let me show you again the Chicago way in yet another clip from the Untouchables.
A man stands alone at a plate. This is the time for what? For individual achievement. There he stands alone. But in the field, what? Part of a team.
Teamwork.
I get nowhere unless the team wins.
Team.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's a disturbing scene. But I want you to think of this. It's not a movie. You think of the people sitting around the table, not as mobsters, but as people that are playing ball with Al Capone. This administration they're not whacking anybody, but they're using a baseball bat. It's the full force and power of the presidency of the United States. You're sitting around that table. Chamber of Commerce, they sat around that table for a while. Insurance industry, Cray Deeds, Humana, doctors, small businesses. You can all sit around the table like those people did. And then you can say, which one's going to get whacked? You can sit there and you can live in fear. Or you can stand up and say, enough of your bat. Now, I warn you, that means that some people are going to get whacked. But again, let me go to another clip from the Untouchables.
Are you prepared?
Stay.
The lesson from that movie is you got to take a stand. Even though you know, in the end, you pull out a knife and they're going to pull out a gun. The question we have to ask ourselves, what is it we truly believe in? What do we believe in? Who are we? Are we the guy who sits around the table in fear? Are we the guy who stands up and says, hey, the hell are we all doing? He's one guy. There's more of us than there is of him. But I warn you, you have to ask yourself, if you stand up, what are you willing to do? Sure, you might get whacked, but let me tell you something. You spend too much time in bed with the mob, you spend too much time at that table, you're going to get whacked eventually anyway.